Deze is speciaal voor jou. You know it doesn't make much sense. There ought to be a law against anyone who takes offense at a day of your celebration. 'Cause we all know in our minds that there ought to be a time that we can set aside to show just how much we love you. And I'm sure you would agree, what could fit more perfectly than to have a world party on the day you came to be. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
The Orange Order is a very, very broad church. We have all shades of political opinions in it. We've all reformed denominations in it. So there'll be people who will want to do their utmost on the streets, and there'll be other people who think we've made the mistake already, it's too late. There'll be others who want to play the game and see where it goes. So we're a broad church, so it's hard for me to say what will happen or what the Orange Order do, because our members will do different things according to their own conscience. But personally speaking, I have to say, I believe that it has happened. I heard John Tongue use the phrase pragmatic. It's not a phrase I'm overly keen about, because pragmatism usually means somebody's being betrayed or somebody's being let down. But I don't see a situation whereby it may be done by legal terms to overturn it. The vote, you could try that, but I think we've wasted hundreds of thousands of those sort of challenges over the years. The first option that jumps to unionist minds is protest. But let me say clearly, these are different days from 10 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, and 100 years ago. You have to cut your cloth accordingly as to what the community will do. There's no good lamenting that we won't get 500,000 to sign a covenant, which I don't believe we would nowadays. There's no good lamenting we can't bring the Providence to a halt through a strike, which we did in 74, because I don't believe that would happen today. People have changed, societies changed, etc. And the same way as in the flag protest, I remember speaking to those in the flag protest, which I totally agreed that the flag shouldn't have come down. I was totally opposed to it. But very few took to the streets. Yet in all, there was 60,000 people in East Belfast sitting watching Coronation Street saying it was wrong, but there was only a few hundred out in the street protesting against it. So that showed for me that the days of on-street protests, by and large, are over. The one notable exception was the homecoming parade. I thought unionism was never united as before, as people headed to the City Hall, streamed from all parts of the province to the City Hall, from all shades of unionism and from all spheres of society. That united us, something like that united us. But I don't think we're in that position again. So I don't think doing street protests where there's a potential of getting young people criminal records, or even older people or women or whoever records for blocking streets, I don't think it would work. I'll be honest, I'll be straight. If I thought we could do it by protest and change things, I'd be the first on the street, because I supported the Workers' Council strike, I've supported issues over Drumcree and others where street protest action was taken. But sadly, I don't think it would work at this particular time. That doesn't mean, and this is the key to it, I think, that doesn't mean people agree with the decision. But we live just in a different world. The young people wouldn't be the same for coming out. People are tired, shall we say, and feel let down in many ways by parts of unionism. So that's not the same enthusiasm. But that's not to say we accept things. That's not to say we just lay back and say this has happened. I think we need to fight it in whatever way we can, and that's where we need political leadership to show us how to deal with things, to show us what's the way to make sure these protocols don't get any worse. Indeed, we need to amend them. And I think we need to play a more strategic game. because I believe this decision will orientate our economics towards Dublin and towards the Republic and towards Europe. And we have to get ways to counterbalance that. And we have to go to the British government, those who have let us down in this occasion, and say, how do we counterbalance that? Because I think it was wrong what Boris did, but I suspect he did it for pragmatic reasons. As you said, the border became a litmus test for the whole thing. We were talking about it. The President of America was talking about it. European heads of all the states were talking about it. The Republic of Ireland government brought in violence to it when Varadkar showed that picture of the border pole being burned out. Unions certainly didn't threaten violence around it, but those things were introduced. So I think we need to now go and see how we can strengthen and negate those things that have happened, because we're not going to overturn them. If they're going to overturn them, somebody tells me how to do that. Everybody will I want them overturned, but how do we achieve that? It's no good just wanting and wishing for something. It's not going to happen. We have to work out a way to do that. And I think that unionism needs to do that collectively with all the various parties and everyone else and work out a strategy. But then it leads to what I think is one of your other major themes is leadership. People need to want to be led. Sadly, today's society's changed. There were leaders 100 years ago and people followed them because they trusted their leaders. That's what they did. But nowadays, everybody's a leader. Don't think it's probably correct to say, but nobody wants to be an Indian. Everybody wants to be a chief. And I think that's the case. And social media has helped that. I'm not saying people shouldn't have their opinions and all, but everybody believes they know better than someone else. And sometimes we need to step back and say, we need led. We need to follow someone who we believe is going to overturn that decision, who we believe is going to work with others to overturn that decision. And I think that's the key, that we have to want to be led as well.
And let's look at this concept of democracy. And whenever that you would place your axe on a ballot paper, and I'll just pop the particular ballot paper up here for people to see. And the commentary I would give here is that it was a referendum for the entire United Kingdom, as you can see. I mean, if I place my axe here in the Leave the European Union, and 17.4 plus million other people also done exactly the same, and we won the referendum, so to speak, is it ever right? Now, this is a very serious question, and I'd like you to answer this really, carefully for me. But, is it ever acceptable from an academic's point of view, from a professor of politics point of view, that democracy would be split up in the way that it was split up, and having, say, for example, there's 4 constituent parts, 3 constituent parts are treated differently than 1 constituent part? Why is that ever acceptable, John?
It's a great question, John, and it's a difficult one. It's a complex one to answer, because I get the premise of your question, and in many ways, I know where you're going with it, and I agree to a considerable extent. You asked remain or leave, and it didn't say but one part of the UK will leave on different terms to the rest of the UK, and that's where I think that the Loyalists protested, and the DUP and UUP are correct in posing departure on different terms from the rest of the UK. We also live in a world of pragmatism. So you can argue that the EU played that border for all it was worth, the north-south border. And I would have, again, some sympathy with that argument. But we knew that was coming. I would agree that the signs are not good early on. There's been shortages in supermarkets. There's been, firms unaware of what they've got to do. And if you were a Great Britain, invest in Great Britain, why would you be particularly interested in trading in Northern Ireland, given you've got this extra paperwork to complete? So I understand the annoyance of unionists.
Hey jarige, deze is speciaal voor jou. You know it doesn't make much sense. There ought to be a law against anyone who takes offense at a day of your celebration. 'Cause we all know in our minds that there ought to be a time that we can set aside just how much we love you, and I'm sure you would agree. What could fit my perfectly? That's a happy world party on a day you came to be. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
We didn't join Europe to be swallowed up in some bureaucratic conglomerate where it's Euro this and Euro that and forget about being British. We're British and we're proud of it. Proud of our traditions, proud of our national character.